everyone. Welcome back to the class. When we look at our surroundings, even at our garden, we grow not only coconuts, vegetables and fruits, but also roses. Why do we grow flowers and other plants, though they don't serve our food purpose? What might be the reason? Yes, coconut, vegetables, fruits, they are grown to serve the need of consumption. But whereas roses and other flowers are grown to fulfill our aesthetic needs. We as a human beings, we not only require our physical needs, also we always seek for aesthetic pleasure. Flowers like art, music, painting, sculpture, all these art forms, they fulfill or they help us to fulfill our emotional needs. They elevate our mind as well as our soul. We like seeking art. We like seeing art. We like hearing art. And we like making art. All art forms, they help us to rejuvenate our mood and elevate our enthusiasm. Today, in this video, we are reading one such short story which is related to art and the value of art in others' perspective. And the title of the short story is A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise, which is written by Rabindranath Tagore. A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. Rabindranath Tagore. All of us are very much familiar with Rabindranath Tagore. So, students, here I will not explain Rabindranath Tagore's life history or his achievements or his works. Instead, let us have a quiz. The first question, when was Rabindranath Tagore born? Whether it's 7th May 1861, 9th May 1863, 7th May 1965 or 11th May 1964. Yes, the answer is 7th May 1861. Rabindranath Tagore was born on 7th May 1861. The second question. What was Tagore's most well-known collection of poems? Yes, the right answer is Geetanjali, for which he has also awarded with Nobel Prize. What was the name of the institute that he founded? Yes, so the answer is Vishwa Bharatiya University. Let us move to the next question. Which of the two nations chose his work as their national anthems? We know that Rabindranath Tagore has written many short stories as well as poems. Two of his poems are two nations' national anthem. Which are those nations? Yes, the right answer is India and Bangladesh. I have already told you that he was awarded with Nobel Prize. But in which field he was awarded with Nobel Prize. Whether it is peace, physics, economic sciences or literature. So there is no doubt it is literature. So students, now let us read the story A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise, which is written by Rabindranath Tagore. Children, I want you to sit back and listen and follow the lines as I read on. A wrong man in workers' paradise. The man had never believed in mere utility. Having had no useful work, he indulged in mad whims. He made little pieces of sculpture, men, women, and castles, quaint earthen things dotted over with seashells. He painted. Thus he wasted his time on all that was useless and needless. People laughed at him. At times he vowed to shake off his whims, but they lingered in his mind. Some boys seldom ply their books and yet pass their test. A similar thing happened to this man. He spent his earth life in useless work, and yet after his death the gates of heaven opened wide for him. But the moving finger writes even in heaven. So it came to pass that the aerial messenger who took charge of the man made a mistake and found him a place in workers' paradise. In this paradise you find everything except leisure. Here men say, God, we haven't a moment to spare. Women whisper, let's move on, time is flying. All exclaim, time is precious. We have our hands full. We make use of every single minute. They sigh complainingly, and yet those words make them happy and exalted. Now let us read these paragraphs in detail. A wrong man in workers' paradise. Look at the title of the short story. A wrong man in workers' paradise. All of us knew what is paradise. It is a workers' paradise. There is a man who resides in paradise, but he doesn't belong to that paradise. That's why he's a wrong man in workers' paradise. The man had never believed in mere utility. This man, he never believed in mere utility. He was never useful to the society. He never did any work which was fruitful, which was beneficial to others. Having had no useful work, he indulged in mad whims. He was not having any useful work. But what was his work or what was his deed? He was indulged. Indulged means he lost one's himself in or he involved in mad whims. Mad whims means whatever he was wishing to do, he did that, though it might not give any beneficial or fruitful thing to society. He just fulfilled his wishes, his sudden desires. He made little pieces of sculpture. The narrator of this story said that he had not done any fruitful work. At the same time, the narrator is explaining that this man used to make sculpture of men, women, castles and quaint earthen things dotted over with seashells. Quaint means very attractive or charming. That means this man was very good at sculpturing. Yes, he also painted. Thus, he wasted his time on all that was useless and needless. According to the narrator, painting and sculpture, which was the man's work, was useless as well as needless. People laughed at him. When he was alive, people laughed at him. At times, he vowed to shake off his whims. So, during his life on earth, this man sometime or many such moments he vowed or he took promise, he pledged, he took the oath to shake off, to get rid of his whims, his desires, but they lingered in his mind. But that sudden desires keep on coming to his mind. It lingered. It remained for long time. He couldn't leave his passion for art, that is painting and sculpture. Some boys seldom ply their books and yet pass their test. Here the narrator compares the man to some boys. How some boys rarely read their books. Seldom means rarely. Ply, in this context, the word ply means read or study. So how some boys rarely read their books, but luckily they pass their test. The same thing happened with this man. When he was alive, when he was on earth during his lifetime, according to the narrator, he had not done any useful or needful work. But after his death, the gates of heaven opened wide for him. Though he had not done any fruitful work, he reached paradise. The gates of heaven opened for him. But the moving finger writes even in heaven. So when we were children and reading stories, we oftenly see that or read that in heaven whatever we do on earth will be written in a book, right? So whatever deeds we do will be recorded in the heaven book. The moving finger here, it means destiny or fate or time. It writes everything we do on earth in the heavens book. So it came to pass that the aerial messenger who took charge of the man made a mistake. So we have already seen that this man had not done any fruitful work, yet he reached heaven. How did that happen? It happened because the aerial messenger who took the charge of this man made a mistake. Because of his mistake, the man found a place in workers' paradise. Not because of his work, but because of aerial messenger's mistake, he reached heaven. In this paradise, you find everything except leisure. So all of us, when we were reading some or other stories, we have imagined how a paradise would be, right? Everything is luxurious over there. But here in this workers' paradise, we find everything except leisure, except free time. There is no free time in workers' paradise. Here men would say, here means in workers' paradise, men would say, God, we have not a moment to spare. So, a single second should not be wasted. And what women whispered? Let's move on. Time is flying. Let's do the work because the time is flying. And all men and women would exclaim, time is precious. We have our hands full. We make use of every single minute. We are not having a single moment to waste because they were having a lots of work. They sigh complainingly. So they would say they have lots of work in a complaining voice. And yet those words make them happy and exalted. Though they were speaking in a complaining voice, yet they were happy to do all the work. So students, this is the story A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise opens. So whatever we have read so far, let us revise. What does the man do all day long? So the narrator was telling us that he was useless. His works were needless. Then what were the works he was doing? He indulged in mad whims. He made little pieces of sculpture of men, women, castles, and quaint earthen things dotted over with seashells. He also painted. Though his works were useless, how did he manage to reach workers' paradise? The aerial messenger who took charge of the man made a mistake and found him a place in workers' paradise. So, according to the writer, the man did not do any fruitful work, any useful or needful work. Because of the mistake made by the aerial messenger, he found a place in workers' paradise. So, children, what happens in workers' paradise when a wrong man is placed in paradise? Let us see what happens in the story in next period.